Welcome to episode 117. What a gap. Of a master's degree in rolling terribly. And welcome back to us. I'm your host, Detty, and joining me this week, a man who's been dying to get back into the swing of playing and recording and cucking the party on a weekly basis. My brother from another mother and father, and I assume grandparents. The G to my ass, Gaz. Say hi, Gaz.
Hi, Gaz. Well, I have missed these.
Yeah.
Until you started doing that, I completely forgot this was our intro. So It has been a hot minute.
I forgot how to do the intro. In fact, setting this whole thing up was like a nightmare, but we got there.
Yeah, I'm glad that when we decided to start, or when you decided to start, that our intro was welcome, because you only had to remember one word and just do it again, right?
Yeah.
If it was some kind of complicated catchphrase, like...
I'm dreading the end.
Yeah, me too. something. So, yeah, no, it is. It's awesome to be back. We've done some videos. We've been getting ready. And this is the first episode of the pod, again. So what are we up to, 117?
117 now.
Or one, I guess, if we're kicking it off from Gloomhaven.
Yeah, I wondered about that. I wondered whether or not we, if I don't know, do a spin-off, but then we lose all of the 117. It's also nice to know that we've recorded more than one episode.
Yeah, correct.
So
no, I think it's probably episode 1 in our Gloomhaven 2.0 playthrough, or 117 if you're been with us from the start.
I'm not adding that to the intro. As in general.
I'll add it in.
I know another podcast who's been like, welcome to episode 300 and such, or episode 3-6 for the year, right? Because it was a seasonal thing.
Yeah.
Well,
this is like a season. So,
no.
All right. When you say 117, I'll just say 3.
Okay.
4.
I'll let you slip that in there.
5.
And then I cut it out.
Then you cut it out. Yeah, I will. I mean, that's classic Detty, right? Just edit me out.
I don't think I've ever done that. I'm doing it now.
Yeah, it's coming in right now. Anyway, yes, it is good to be back.
Yeah. In the meantime, I've obviously had a baby, and I think she's like 3 months now, which is pretty cool. It's been a fun break. I think the break, as much as it sucks, I guess, from a listener point of view, when your favorite podcast, we're definitely someone's favorite. But,
well, Stu sent it this morning. So, shout out to Stu. Thanks for making my day.
Yeah, you did. Whenever something like that happens, you kind of don't know what to do, and you start listening to other stuff, and it's unfortunate, but I guess from a you and I point of view, it felt like taking extended annual leave, and there was something, I don't know, there was something really nice about it, not having to get up and go through the routine of all the editing and all that kind of, for a while. But now that obviously we're heading into Gloomhaven 2.0, and, we're ready to get that whole campaign started, the excitement, the juices and all that's flowing, and I'm ready to record some content.
Yeah, it's a good point. And for those that are not aware, or even though people have been following us, we ran straight through from Frosthaven into Crimson Scales, and we had a couple of weeks break in between, but it wasn't significant.
No.
And I don't think the hype really got built up. Crimson Scales was an awesome experience, and Frosthaven was amazing. But leading into the start of Frosthaven, there was a lot of build up. It was new. It was everything. Crimson Scales just felt like, oh, we've got to keep doing something. 2.0 is too far in the future to wait for. So let's put something on the table. We'll have a quick break and then we'll go. But this has felt like we've stopped, we've started, we've planned, and now we're kind of we've had this slow build up.
Yeah.
Right? With some videos, some unboxings. We'll cover it later, where we did the vote to see which characters we're playing. So we only just found out what we're playing, which is really exciting. So it feels like this has been this gradual build up rather than kind of just take a couple of weeks off and then heading straight back into a whole new world. So yeah, it is. It's a cool thing, and I know I've got the Haven bug again. Yeah,
I think with you raised some good points about the break between Frosthaven and Crimson Scales, but also we could have easily gone in and did somewhat pseudo unboxings of the beta when they were being released, and all the conversations were happening in Reddit, and people were like, oh, these changes and that. And you and I both naturally ignored all of that. Not because we're being rebellious or anything like that. It's just, we knew we would get to that when we get to that. And I'm glad it worked out that way, because it would have been easy just to cover a lot of those classes and characters and concepts of the game 9 months ago. And then come back here and go, cool, trying to remember all of that kind of stuff. Whereas now, that momentum and that hype and all of that, it's in full force.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing that's interesting is like unboxing the starter classes that is open information. We've talked about this before. It's new to us because we've deliberately ignored everything, right?
Yeah. Well,
it's like coming across going like, what's Game of Thrones? What's that about, right? And then being able to experience that and like watch it. And like at the end of season 1 being like, oh my God, I don't want to say any spoilers in case anyone hasn't seen it. No. You should watch it. But like at the end going like, did you know at the end of season 1 this happened? People just rolling their eyes like everybody knows that. But we're like, this is new. Yeah. So it is good school. And this is how we experience things, right?
Well, I mean, if you're new to the channel also, like this is going to be if you're coming in here going, hey, this is Gloomhaven podcast or there's a Frosthaven podcast, there's a Haven podcast, and these guys, this is 117, but I don't want to listen to all the Crimson Scales and Frosthaven stuff. There may be people out there who are tuning in for the first time who know absolutely nothing about us and how we actually operate, how we actually do all this sort of stuff. So do you want to go into kind of new people and what to expect from an amDirt podcast?
Yeah. Not much. You shouldn't probably set your expectations low, right? That's where you should start. Especially like we started this as a way to just chat about games. I think the story was that we would play games for an hour, or I was coming over to Detty's place to play games, and then we'd sit here for 4 hours talking about playing games and then not actually play anything. Or we play one really quick 5-minute card game, and then the rest of the time we're talking about everything else and what it would be to talk about games. And then we kicked it off by we started playing Frosthaven, and then he just chucked a mic in front of me and said, like, we're recording, go. And I was just like, oh, okay. So probably don't go back and listen to the first, I reckon the first 5 episodes are a bit rough, but then we kind of figure out our things. But if you're here now, welcome.
Start here.
Yeah, start here. Don't go back, yeah. Unless you want to play Frosthaven, in which case then you can kind of pick out the episodes. But yeah, like we just kind of take things pretty easy. Like I guess we try to come across as the just casual people playing the game. Like we don't get too sweaty with it, but we do try. We do like a bit of a challenge.
No, there's anything wrong with that.
No, that's it. And this is one of the great things about board games and Haven in general is that like there's something there for everybody.
That's true.
But yeah, we just, you're not going to get the most insightful like kind of advice in regards to the breakdowns, but we do like to figure things out. Yeah. I think if anything else, you're going to be able to watch our brains work and the cogs turn as we kind of work out these things.
Yeah.
Screaming at the TV going like, no, that card goes with that card, you idiot. But then when you get to experience us seeing that, it's like a little bit of a, yeah.
Is it rage baiting?
We're not doing it on purpose.
No, but you know what I mean? It's like when people watch something and they're like, oh my God, this guy's so wrong. Like, this is terrible and these guys are so wrong. I'm going to make a comment about how wrong they are and how annoying it is, etc. And then they continue to be wrong, but then that person's still engaged with them because they're so wrong over and over again. And then they're just like, oh, this makes me so mad. But I mean, that's rage baiting, right? Yeah.
So we're doing it accidentally because we're just wrong. Like, so it's like a level deeper, but yeah, that's a little bit about us. And I guess, we're going to cover a little bit more about getting into Haven and what we like about it. But yeah, I don't know. Did I miss anything?
No, well, just in general, we're incredibly spoiler adverse, which is something you mentioned at the start. We don't look into absolutely anything. And we're talking all the way into like level up cards. So when you're playing a character in any of the Haven series, we do a traditional unboxing, which is when we see it for the first time. Kind of. It depends on which version. If we're playing Gloomhaven again, we kind of already seen it. But we see everything for the first time. We almost discover it. And we have our sort of raw response, raw reactions, and make comments during that actual process. And then in the case of like even in second edition, we don't know what the level up cards are because we don't look into those. So that every time we level up, it's like a new surprise. And we get to have drip-fed dopamine hits of that. And then our listeners get to sort of ride that wave with us.
Yeah.
Which I think I dare say that's a unique concept. Like, I think most people who are going to be playing a game like this are looking ahead, and that's probably encouraged. Right?
Well, I mean, this is one of the things that we keep complaining about, right? Is that we will look to a card and go, that's no good, or I don't understand how that works, or why would I want that? Not knowing that 3 levels later, you get a card that works really well to it. And everyone's screaming at us saying like, but that's
not why you're here.
Yeah.
You're not here to piece together why it works and why it doesn't, because we don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So you get our raw reaction, and that's where that spoiler adverse part comes from. And I think if anything, we started that way, and I think we've lent into it more. And I think it creates good content for people to watch because you get to see our actual reaction to it. You're not, when we unbox something or look through cards, you're not seeing us know that that's the level 2 card or level 3 card or level 9 card. And we already knew that, but we're just like, oh, whoa, how good's this, right? We're literally reading it for the first time. And we'll probably stuff it up and get it wrong.
Yeah.
So therefore, you can guarantee we are actually seeing it for the first time.
And that's the rage baiting part. But I think it's like, I don't believe in reaction content. Like, and I don't want to call us reaction content, but I can't really, don't know how else to categorize that aspect of our channel, right?
Yeah.
And I don't lean into it, but I have noticed that sometimes with some of the bands that I've discovered, I will listen to, there's reaction music channels out there with big followings, and a song will drop and I love it. And then they'll be like, cool, I'm going to listen to this for the first time. And they listen to it for the first time and they're really taking it in, and they either, shit all over it or they really enjoy it. And they're like, oh my God. And they pause every now and then. This is really fantastic. And I'm drawn to watching that. It's one of the few instances of, I guess, reaction content that I actually enjoy.
Yeah.
And then I'll find another channel that will do the same thing. I'll be like, how do they react to that song? How do they react? So yeah, it exists. And people seem to like watching other people discover things.
Well, one of my favorite parts of doing this podcast is we have a Discord as well. Okay. So if you're new, we've got a Discord. The link is probably in the channel or somehow.
Now it is, yeah.
Or is it?
Yeah. Well, no, it's not, but it will be now.
It will be now, yeah. So you can find it or message Detty. But the thing is, people will listen to the podcast, right, or watch the video, and sometimes we say some things that might be a little bit controversial, like whether we do or don't like something, or something does or doesn't work. And then they will post in the Discord and be like, no, guys, it works like this, blah, blah, blah. And then the best part is when they're like, oh, later on,
you covered
that. But I love that people are listening and so passionate about what they're hearing that they're like, want to have that dialogue. And we actually are usually at our computers, or at least on Discord, enough that we will probably reply almost in real time as people are watching it as well. So I love that kind of little bit of a live aspect to it without actually needing to do it live.
No, you're right. Something else that we have is our playthroughs itself. That was newly introduced in Crimson Scale, so we didn't actually record any of the playthroughs of Frosthaven, unfortunately. But I mean, things were limited back then, and we were still working on what we were doing. And I decided to, let's make my life harder, and we'll do that, and we're about to do that again with 2.0. But something we do in our playthroughs, and if you watch the Crimson Scales, we like a challenge, and not from a make the game really hard, but I think I covered this in an episode a while back about the Grim Rule, about how if something's ambiguous, a lot of the times, and actual ambiguous, like from pathing monsters and all that kind of stuff, we will play to our advantage as you meant to. But if we're really stuck on something, we will usually always pick the worst outcome for us if it's something like that. And that's something we definitely lean into. If we make a mistake that's beneficial to the monsters, we kind of keep it a lot of the times. And that's what I mean by enjoying a challenge. We would rather that than to alter it in such a way to make the game easier.
Yeah.
And I think that's, again, sometimes reason enough that we don't increase the difficulty.
Yeah, that's it. And I think famously, we will always usually make mistakes not in our favor.
Yeah.
And that was really hard. And people are like, oh yeah, that's not supposed to happen.
No.
And you're like, okay.
Here's a good example. When we played Frosthaven, even though we didn't play it live and didn't have it recorded, I had an app, the Frosthaven map viewer thing, and it only shows the first map. So we didn't know how big the dungeons were. Yeah. You're supposed to know that.
Yeah.
You're supposed to know what monsters are in there, like from the legend, and you're meant to know, all of these kind of things, how long it is, if it's an escape scenario, how many tiles it is. We didn't know. And that's what I mean by we enjoyed making it harder, because that technically does make it harder. It's harder to plan around. But that app, as it slowly reveals it as you open the door, you don't know how big it is, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So it's cool, except that we get no benefit from it other than it being, I guess, more entertaining in a way.
What's funny about that is that wasn't recorded either. So no one would have actually been able to see us.
Oh, yeah. So they were just like, you idiots. Why do you not know that you need to? Yeah. Okay, cool. That's good. It's all coming out now. So,
yeah. But like I said, we're not experts in the field. We never plan to be. That is not a goal of ours. There are some fantastic content creators out there who are making guides, making deep analysis on some of the characters and compositions and synergies, and also doing speedruns, in the digital format. And they're all phenomenal people. Something that, even if we wanted to, I don't think we would have it in our heart to even try to do something like that. And I think that we've kind of just what's the term, buried out our own niche in, this kind of environment.
Yeah, you're more likely to get our experiences, our opinions, our more, I guess, how we feel about stuff and how it works. Maybe like when I say guide, again, I agree we don't do guides, but it's probably more of like here's how we played it and here's what happened. If that's on a class, but I think one of the reasons that I steer away from I get this analysis paralysis when it gets to kind of making a guide because I've thought of it before. But the problem is it's like there's so many options, right? And especially in Haven when you've got all the character cards and then you've also got all the items, right? Plus you've also got the other characters in the party. It almost becomes this situation of like, yeah, there might be a best build, but there's also going to be a lot of other best builds as well, depending on the situation. So I always find this thing weird about I'd have to scour the internet, read everything, know everything about really the class. And that's kind of, again, being spoiler adverse makes it really tricky.
Absolutely.
So it becomes this weird thing of like, well, here is a really good way of playing it. I'm sure you could find your own really good way of playing it. At that point, well, is there even any point?
No. Something that I like to compare it to is like an average Joe, kind of like we're the average Joes of. So if you look at a video game, right, the people who are making the best content in there, who are the ones that are saying this is really good, this is better by 2%, and they min-max it to the point where they can almost create an actual tier list, a power leveling tier list. It's like a bell curve, right? The majority of those people up there, you're not going to balance a game based on what they're saying because the majority of people are going to be sitting around the middle. We're those middle guys. We're like the ultimate like average customer, So if we are enjoying it and we're getting a grasp of it, I think that's a good way of looking at it from, I guess, the developer point of view.
Yeah.
If the amDirt guys can sort it out, etc. Whereas they're not going to balance it around, the best people. They're probably more likely to balancing it around averagely capable people like us.
I love that, the idea that the designers are sitting around and they're like, is this scenario too hard? And they're like, the amDirt guys could do it, so it should be fine, right? So yeah, I like that. I like being the average bell curve, average on the bell curve to whether something is too hard, too easy, or
We're the ideal customer.
Yeah.
So let's talk about our schedule. All right. Okay. What is amDirt going to look like moving forward? So we've decided to make the playthrough like we did in Crimson Scales bleed into the actual podcast recording. So in the past, we would play on a Monday night. We would wait until the Friday, sometimes the Saturday, and sometimes the Sunday night. The podcast usually comes out on Monday morning. So has various levels of problems. This is purely a scheduling thing.
And people might remember when we would go into it and then you'd ask me questions about the event or even the scenario.
Yeah.
And I couldn't remember.
No.
And that's because it just blends into one or the other. And sometimes it's almost a week later.
That's right.
And I'm not remembering one random event.
No. And I have to sit there for hours also remembering, except I don't have to be on the spot. I've got heaps of time to work it out and piece it together so that I can put you on the spot.
Yeah, that's right.
So we will be recording our episodes directly after the playthrough, which is kind of cool because it means that we're going to get a nice raw episode based on what we've just experienced. And I think that is a good change because a lot of the times once the cameras go off, you and I can sit here as we've done for years and talk about what the hell just happened. And now we can have that recorded properly, which I think will lead to a certain level of spice that we didn't necessarily have, especially if we disagree.
I'm a little bit not concerned. I love it. I love the idea of it. But you are right. Like sometimes on the pod, we struggle to contain what we want to say into a length of time that we can put out in the internet, right? Don't put out a 3-hour podcast. Nobody wants to listen to that. Well, I think there's like 2 people in our Discord that would say they would, but everyone else doesn't want to. I'm a little bit worried about what's going to happen when we get a really spicy scenario. And you're right, we kind of have different views of it, and there's all these different layers to what we say. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, like going in and saying, "So, what did you think about that?" And like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
So
no, and we've actually bought these for the voting thing, the whiteboards. We're going to utilize a lot of those in the actual episodes, but towards the end, it's almost like diving or gymnastics or whatever they do where they hold up a scorecard. We want to just for the very end of the playthrough give how we felt finishing it and then launch straight into a recording where we can start to really dissect what actually happened and why and how we actually feel about it. And I think when you and I talk, we've got this uncanny ability also to see things from the other person's point of view. And a lot of the times, even if I'm really like hating something, you can find a way to turn me not all the way back, but to make me see it in a different light, which I think is important.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things I think with this game is that sometimes you can do non-fun things that are quite impactful. And so it's interesting because someone in the scenario could be like, wow, that sucked. I did not enjoy it. And you're like, you did some really important things there. So there's an interesting part of like a third kind of category. So yeah, I think having the other point of view is going to help at least go, well, yeah, you might have been bored, but you're really helpful.
100%. I try to be helpful. And more on that.
Wasn't you specifically. It was more people in general. But yeah.
More on that shortly when we talk about our classes. Now, the other thing is, if you've come directly from my Crimson Scales campaign, we're down to 3.
Yep.
We lost a member, and it's Gaz.
See ya.
No, Mark, unfortunately, has decided to sit out of our Gloomhaven 2nd edition playthrough. Mark is running his own business at the moment, or multiple, I think.
And doing very well.
And doing extremely well. And he also is playing a lot of Fellowship and has a lot on his plate at the moment.
And he does his racing. He's got many, many, many balls in the air and can't afford a shelf.
No. So we have decided to just go with 3.
Yep.
And not fill that last spot for now. We've heard really good things about playing it as 3 people. A lot of people think it's balanced best at 3, something that we haven't really experienced much, as we've usually always been at 4 unless someone had to sit out for any given week. So the show will move on. Phil will still be with us unless between now and when we play, he tells me he's also not going to play.
Yeah.
And then there's 2 of us.
Yeah, that's right. But and it's good because we do need someone who can do big numbers and big damage and who really loves flipping AMBs. Because he has an uncanny ability to have multiple crits in his deck. Or always draw it. So it's good that we've still got that. Because that's pretty much going to carry us through on the high difficulty, right?
100%.
We're going to need those crits.
100%. Like, no doubt.
No doubt.
With the actual playthroughs and podcasts that we will be recording, they'll still have their own separate episode. Someone was asking a while back whether or not the podcast will continue. I had Ood and Art over it and then realized, no, I think the podcast is important. It gives us a platform to actually have these chats, something that the playthrough it'll make it 5 hours long.
Yeah.
If we keep breaking everything down as something separate. There's also something about being able to listen to this in the car. Gaz and I, if you are in the car as we speak, I'm not doing anything amazing on screen right now. We're just sitting here looking at each other and talking into microphones. So you're not missing anything.
Yeah, it's something that I was also really conscious of when we did move, because we started just on audio. We maybe done 20, 30 episodes of just audio.
Yeah, about that.
And then we started recording it with the video and putting it on YouTube
we
as well.
To use YouTube, yeah.
And one of the things I was really conscious of, and I will continue on hopefully, is that there is an audio version of this that like people will listen to. So one of the things that I've listened to podcasts as well that have done an audio and video version simultaneously is they'll be like, hey, cool, now let's talk about this card. How cool is this? And then you're like, I don't know because I'm driving and I'm just listening. So yeah, we'll do our best to make sure that anything translates to audio. And if we're talking about a card specifically, we will read that out, make sure that there's enough information on it.
Yeah. Except for formations, it's really hard to explain a formation over audio if you can't see the card.
It's like that hex, and then it's the hex. You've got to be here, and the hex next to there, and then there's got to be a monster on the other hex, Detty. The other hex.
It's like you got to say the Hyundai symbol, like that little weird H thing.
So we'll only be talking in triangles, and that's it.
Yes. So I do encourage people to comment in the YouTube channel after the playthroughs and after each podcast episode. If there's something you want to say, something that I want to do more of is a little bit more engagement with our listeners and with our viewers. We want to, if you have a question, why did Detty do that? Why did he pick that card? Why is he, slow down a little bit. Not too much on that, but you know what I mean? If there's something you want to say, I'm happy to read them out at the start of the next session. I'm happy to read them out on our Dirtbag and have a bit more of a Dirtbag mail session in our actual podcasts where, topics, questions, abuse, whatever you have, I'll read them out to Gaz, especially if they're about Gaz.
Yeah, he definitely will read them out if they're about me. And I guess the other thing as well is we don't really do a lot of promotion. So one of the cool things is having the Discord is a good way for us to get feedback on what is and isn't working. It's a good
we've been
way.
trying that for years.
Yeah. No, but like it's good because people tell us the stuff that they like and then we keep doing that and it's good. But like comments in YouTube is another way of telling YouTube that people like the video. So therefore the video goes out to more people. So like while we don't promote this thing very much at all, engaging in the whole like algorithm thing of YouTube is a great way to tell YouTube that you like it, and then it might be like, hey, maybe another person might like it. So that helps us a lot as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of really cool to hear from people from the community because that's the thing. Being one of the best things about doing this is like the conversations and the kind of relationships we've struck up with some people has been awesome.
Yep.
So the more the merrier.
And even though like because of amDirt we've become multimillionaires, like we're still very humble and down to earth, and I think we're still here. But no, if it's one person then say, Detty, I want you to wear a silly hat, I might listen to you and I might go and do that.
He might. He might. Yeah. And just for the record, we're making $0 off this. So, in fact, it's costing us money, but you still love doing it.
Yeah. All right, let's jump into 2.0, second edition. We've just discovered what we're playing.
We have
Out
just
of
discovered.
6 starters, we had a poll. It was a weird poll because it was really a video with comments.
We had a poll.
We added it as a poll.
I have the whiteboard here. Now, just because I literally just said that I won't do anything on the video that I won't do to audio, I'm not even going to show the video what
fair.
the whiteboard is,
That's
right?
fair,
So you can't see it,
That's
right?
fair because that's not fair on audio
That's not
listeners.
fair on audio
if they know
listeners.
that video listeners get
Correct.
to see it.
Yeah, you don't want to be missing out. All right. So we did a vote. We had a video that went out, and anybody was free to go on there and just put in what they thought me or Detty were going to play. And we didn't read it at all. So until we got to recording a video, which will be out by now, and so you can watch that and see how we reacted to it all. And it was a landslide and also really close.
Yeah.
Wait,
is that the first time that would have ever been said in the history of ever?
Maybe, yeah.
A really close landslide?
A really close landslide. That's it. So the boring part was the landslide, which is, I mean, look, I'm very happy with it. Thank you for everyone who voted for it because this is the class that I wanted to play. So I ended up with, 21 votes on the Mine Thief. Mm-hmm. This was out of how many? Like
39.
39 comments. So yeah, that's as landslide as you're probably getting.
Yeah. And we've decided to not have him play that. Just screw you all.
This is where the manipulation comes in. The second was a spell waiver on 6. So just to give you an idea for me, the difference in the amount of votes. So very looking forward to Mine Thief, and we'll talk more about this in a minute. But only class I haven't played from the original starters, playing through the original and digital. Mm-hmm. Yes. Detty, on the other hand, this is where the excitement came in. He had a very, very close finish between the Tinkerer and the Cragheart. Do you want to tell everybody how that landed?
It landed on the Tinkerer. Now, Gaz Math made it sound like couldn't be a possible tie, and then I was worried that it was going to be, and then I realized, you know, that thing at the end of the voting when there's 2 votes left, but it's like it can't change. The outcome's already done, especially in your case. I kind of knew it was going to be the Tinkerer by that stage, and I was happy. But in all honesty, I would have been happy with either. What was cool about also the voting thing is that there were a couple of people that actually wrote comments in there and their reasons for the voting. And that was fun to read. And it actually, like, I think someone, I can't remember who, was talking about the Tinkerer, and Detty likes to adapt to a situation. He likes to sort of assess it and not feel like he's playing a programmed character where everything has to be played in a certain order. And that is very true. So thank you for paying attention. And I think, yeah, it does that. I think, if anything, the Krakow will probably lean more into a slide programming thing where obstacle, create obstacle, kick obstacle, or something like that. Tinkerer, probably less of that. So I'm happy. I've got the Tinkerer. There are a lot of cards in there that I don't really know if I'll ever use. They're the ones
that have the heal symbol on.
Yeah, the ones with the little. I think it's the little drip.
Little drip, yeah.
But there are a lot of 3 XP burns and triangles, and I'm looking forward to seeing how fast I can hit level 2.
Hit level 9. Yeah.
And I think that's the other thing is that I think we mentioned just before, we don't know what's coming at level 2.
Yeah.
The Tinkerer has been reworked fairly heavily. I think it's probably the most reworked character out of all of the ones in 2.0.
Yeah.
I'm insanely excited because it's going to feel like a brand new character, especially from level 2 onwards.
Especially because you haven't played it before, right?
No, I have not.
So
I feel like I have from
new
seeing it be played.
Yeah.
It looked boring as hell.
I think I played it at high levels in digital and it wasn't very interesting, but that's because like I think a lot of the starters, that was one of the challenges I think in the original Gloomhaven was that a lot of the starters didn't feel as, I won't say powerful, but just not as fun as a lot of the unlock classes. And I know Frosthaven, they made massive steps towards fixing that because a lot of the starter characters in Frosthaven were fun as a lot of the unlock classes, which is really good. And I believe they would have taken that same idea through to 2.0. I mean, it's obviously a design challenge because you can't make them all really complex because these are the starter characters, right? People are going to be new to this. You don't want to pick up a all of them be 5-star, like hoop jumping through characters. And people are like, I don't want to play this game, right? So you need ones that are like fun and interactive with a little bit of puzzly, but they can get them into it to kind of take them on that journey.
Isn't that literally how a lot of the deck building roguelikes like Slay the Spire works? They've got the most basic characters at the very start so that you can get used to the game and feel for it. And this is where it's awkward, not so much in a bad way, but we've just played through all of Frosthaven and also half of Crimson Scales, and now we're going back into what started it all. We're going back. So I think that mental thing has kind of messed up my perception of some of the classes I want to expect. So I think something that probably we should have done, and more so me, is that when we were doing our unboxings, looking at them as they were brand new characters.
Yeah, I mean...
And that was hard.
It's very hard. It was hard to look at something that you know and pretend it's new.
Correct.
Right? This is literally the reason we don't spoil all the stuff is because it's very hard to learn all about these characters and then unlock level 5 abilities and be like, oh, yeah, I didn't know that was coming.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so... I agree. There's probably an element of our unboxings that we were maybe a little bit harsh on some of these. And
totally.
Tinkerer was one of them.
Spellweaver maybe.
We kept joking about, these cards that the Tinkerer had being like just a damage burn where if you hit up to 3 targets, you get 3 XP, and that was literally all the cards. But I think as this evolves, and I think the Tinkerer is one of those things that our characters are hoping to see lots of utility cards, right? Like lots of different ways of building it and using it. And that does lean into what I have seen you have fun with, right? I don't think that you usually like long drawn out puzzles, like 2 or 3 turns worth of puzzles, and you also don't like being told which card you have to play. So like this has to play into this, into this, into this, and this is the sequence that you just go around. I think those 2 things you tend to not jive with. Being a little bit more flexible with like some setup and being like, you know what, I could play any of these 5 cards. Which one is going to be the best one? And then have some kind of benefit for that. Yeah. Is where I've seen you kind of really thrive.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to Tinkerer. I actually think it's good now as a character. But I did want to point out, I did want to mention, I do want to send an apology to the Spellweaver in that I didn't look at it like, if we'd just seen it for the first time, it would have been a completely different experience. And it would have been like, oh, I get it now, this concept behind burning and all of that. It's more going into it, I knew what to expect, and then it was exactly what I expected. And that was it. And that was a little unfair on old spell dub. So look, I think that it's a good character. I know it's going to pump. I know Dwarf, you're going to come at me and go, oh my God, it does so much damage. I'm aware of that. I'm not saying it's not going to do any damage.
I think that's the thing to go on the record is we understand how much damage it does because it's basically an improved version of the original character, which did a shitload of damage.
Correct.
Right? And that is it. Like, I think that was the thing with me was the Spellweaver. And some of this is probably going to pop up with some of the other classes, right? Totally. Like, I don't know how much all of them have been reworked. Whereas if some of the themes, and I think I said this at the start of the unboxing we did for the Spellweaver, they've either nailed the design for the Spellweaver in the first go through. So therefore it was just tweaking the cards, changing the ordering, maybe adding some abilities, but like the core mechanic of reviving ether being there was what they wanted and they hit that.
Correct.
And I think it must have been because it was pretty popular, right? Then they didn't need to change much. And I'm sure there's going to be other classes we unlock through, and I've seen most of them where we potentially look and go like, oh, okay, well, the gimmick here is the same as it was. Now it's just interesting to see what cards they've got. Whereas that when there's going to be some we unboxed and all of Frosthaven and all of Crimson Scales was opening this card and reading the card was understanding. I didn't know what the gimmick is.
Yep.
Like I have no idea what this character is going to do.
Or if we've messed up, we've fluffed the actual main gimmick of a character during an unboxing, right? And had to make a correction there. So you're right.
You're very kind when you say we. It was me. And thanks
you.
for re-recording that again. So, but like, yeah, that's exactly it. And so that's where I think we landed with some of the starter classes and where the excitement potentially wasn't there. It's not that we're not excited to play them because I think we're really keen to get into 2.0. It looks amazing from what we've seen so far. But it's that discovery of like opening up a present you already knew you were getting.
Yeah.
Like it's like opening up a Christmas present and being like, oh, that video game that I knew I was getting, I'm getting. Oh, wow, thanks. I've got the video game now. Like,
see, this is where I think that I'm luckier than you in that because you have played through it in digital. You've seen a lot more because I can't remember anything really. So therefore it's going to feel fresh. Now the starters are a different story because they're starters, right? But I think a lot of the unlocked ones, I don't even know what they're called.
yeah.
Right. There are some that I never saw in our actual board game and I never played digital to that extent where I got to see them. So that will feel like a fresh unboxing to me. If I crap on it then I'm definitely insulting it. But I don't think that that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
Remember, average Joes.
Average Joes. For me, the Mind Thief, I'm really excited to play. This is the only character starter, I didn't play between the IRL in playthrough we did, which I think I only played the Cragheart from the starters. And then I played the other four in digital at some stage through all that. So really, really keen to see the Mind Thief. And I really like what looks like how they've reworked it as well. So again, some of the little changes to it. I didn't know it that intimately, so I can't talk to it. But having a look through the cards, rewatching the unboxing that we did and having a look through the cards just today after it was the vote, I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
When we were unboxing it, was it like in your head as, I want to play this?
Yeah. I think even before we did, because it's the only one I haven't played.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are a couple of others that I wouldn't have minded playing again.
Yeah.
Like going back to the old Cragheart because that's where I started. That was the first character. But I think the other thing as well is that I don't usually play characters that the numbers are high, like that do lots of numbers, right? Like I tend to play more supporty or more hoopy or more.
Is that choice though?
I mean, a lot of times you don't have a choice.
That's what
right?
I mean.
Yeah, but
that's an interesting coincidence, right? That you keep getting these characters that aren't your standard DPS, big number hitters.
Yeah, and I think, possibly. And I think, I mean, when we played through Frosthaven, there was an element of both me and you where we had ahead of time people saying, oh, we want, Detty to play this character or Gaz to play this character, and they just give us the symbol. So, like, I remember that came out with Prism. And it was like we were 3 weeks into the playthrough to playing the game and people were like, play Prism. And I was like, okay, well, when's that going to pop up? So maybe there's an element of being influenced that way because, the community and stuff have talked through it. But yeah, this is a very different character to what I usually play. So I'm looking forward to it. I think the challenge looks cool. I'm liking the different options. I'm just terrified of my AMD. And for those familiar with our playthrough with the podcast.
Yeah, what are you known for?
Drawing my null. So for every
and then what?
And then drawing it again. And then again. Like I think we have three times in a row after shuffle. This is after shuffles, by the way. So that's my superpower.
It was amazing because in one of those videos you're like, as you draw the null again, you're like, oh, I don't know if I shuffled. And I checked and you did. And I added that into the video, which meant you drew it a third time.
Yeah. So generally I try to get Phil has the best luck. So for every reason that I am terrible at drawing AMDs and always draw null, he's the opposite. And his purple card is always at the top, just whenever he needs it most.
Yeah.
And so whenever I can, I get him to cut my deck and that kind of just puts some good luck in it. He stopped for a while because he said he'll steal it. He kept drawing.
Yeah, because he
null.
stopped. Yeah. Right.
So we'll see how this goes. I'm not sure. Maybe New Haven, new rules. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So our current lineup right now, we've got Tinkerer and we've got Mind Thief, which I believe are the two smallest minis, right? Which is pretty cool.
Yep.
Phil's character,
Wait,
our third member.
No, you're a quattro.
Yes. Phil's character is not determined yet. We'll have a poll going out for that one, which should have gone out and maybe ended by now. I'm not too sure how timing works because I'm trying to, in my head, go, when is this coming out? But
so if you voted on that poll, thank you.
Yeah. Where is that going to leave our party? We've got 3 people. You're all very squish. I'm medium.
Are you medium?
Yeah,
Oh,
because
okay.
Spellweaver, I believe, is the other squish.
Yeah, okay, cool.
And then depending on what Phil gets, now if he gets, I mean, at the moment, based on what I think people were saying as a Phil character, Silent Knife, at least from just a couple of people in Discord were saying, yeah, I can see Phil play that. And I've got a feeling it'll be the Silent Knife or Bruiser for big AMD swings.
Yep.
How is that looking as a starting party?
Yeah, I think pretty good.
I think so.
Yeah.
Do I need to bring heals?
Well, I mean, we talked about, because the other thing we wanted to talk about was difficulty, right?
Yes.
One of the things we famously did through most of our Frosthaven campaign is continually saying like, oh, we were 2-button memeing of like, do we raise the difficulty? Oh, no, someone just started a character. We'll give it a few weeks. And then we would do, all right, we're gonna raise the difficulty. We're gonna do it, guys. We're gonna do it. The foot's going down. We're gonna push that button that says we're going to +1. When I say raise the difficulty, I mean from +0 to +1. So it's not like we were saying let's go to turn up to 11.
Just also on the note, we did end up turning it up to 11 a little bit towards the end.
Yeah, we did, right?
Yeah.
But what we would do is we keep getting stuck in this cycle of not wanting to do it, and then we'd play a scenario and almost lose and go, oh, we don't want to do it. We got scared. And then we wouldn't do it and we'd end up back in that cycle.
Or we would stomp it. Or is that... Yeah, we would stomp it, but then that would be part of the conversation of do we increase it?
Correct.
But,
we would ooh and ah. And we're like, oh, no, but they're retiring and now there's a new character.
Yeah.
Let's not do it until they're comfortable. And then, So we ended up spending 3/4 of the Frosthaven campaign not raising the difficulty, right?
No.
Now, towards the end, you're right, we did. And I think it made it very different to play. It was kind of very refreshing because you have to think about what you do. It's not autopilot for most of it. And we tried it in Crimson Scales and we went backwards and forwards on that because we got booked a fair bit because I think we were just shit. But we are considering starting on +1 for Gloomhaven 2.0. And the reason I bring this up to answer the question of do we have a good party?
Because I can bring heals.
You have said you don't mind playing support abilities
Correct.
as long as you need it, right? Because throwing out heals when someone's on 18 out of 20 life and everything's dead isn't very interesting.
No, not at all. Yeah. No, 100%. So, yes, I stand by that. If it is tricky, and I think +1 at the very beginning with stuff all items and having no idea what we're doing all over again, I think it is a good place to, I will bring a heal. I think I saw one in here.
I saw one.
And it's a bottom heal.
Yeah.
Not getting a top
I'm
heal.
not getting a top heal, of course.
There's a 4-heal top heal here. There's 2 of them. So you might get one.
Might get one of those.
Although
okay.
the bottom one is move 2, heal 1, targeting all allies within range 1.
So heal 1. Yeah, this is also the classic Detties. Like, don't worry, I've got you. I've got heals. And you're like, oh, okay, I'll plan my turnaround having heals and not worrying about myself. And you go, okay, go. And he's like, all right, I move 1 and heal you for 1. And you're like, yeah. And then he's like, oh no, that's it. And like, no, that's bad communication. I mean, yes, technically you weren't lying.
That's so good.
But
that one scenario in Crimson Scales where you're like, can you heal me? I'm like, yeah. And then I heal Gaz for 1. And he's like, he was real quiet and polite about it because he didn't know how to respond. And in my head, I was like, he's going to hate this. But I'm not lying. And then later on, he's like, okay, cool. So in the future, can you let me know how much you're healing for? And I'm like, yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
even if it's just a little bit or like a good amount, just some kind of scale. So, yes. So look, I think that's going to be interesting as well because it means that it's not just the heals, right? Because when we talk about support abilities, which are more utility, rather than use the word support, because that can kind of put the wrong connotations or ideas in people's heads. But those utility abilities that like maybe give other people increases of like, strengthen or moving them around or extra attacks, negative conditions on the monsters that aren't poison or wound, right? Like things like disarm, immobilize, they become so much more impactful when, a monster that was going to move and hit you for 5 now can't move, right? But when they're moving, hitting you for 3, you're like, nah, whatever, I'll just do damage because I can probably kill it.
Yeah.
Right. I may as well throw my damage out because at the end of the day, that's more fun for me and it's about as impactful in the scenario.
True.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to starting a bit harder and actually looking through going like, we have to probably seriously look at the ordering of the monsters, what abilities they've drawn, what you don't move there because you're going to get hit for 5 and you only have 6 HP.
Yeah, which is an ability in itself, like not getting hit. If Phil gets the bruiser, this is what's cool about it also, because I think he'll enjoy the challenge of a higher difficulty at the same time. But it's not always about, just bringing all your damage cards. Like, I'll bring some healing cards, but, you'll bring defensives. It's like when you play World of Warcraft or whatever, and you've got 1 or 2 defensive abilities to help get you out of a pickle to take pressure off the actual healer. I guess I'm hinting at you guys can also look after yourself a little bit every now and then.
He's already planting the seeds for,
So,
I'm not going to heal you.
If you have a fat shield card or something, bring it. You may need it at some stage.
Yep, that's it. So,
We all chip in.
Yeah. So, no, it is. Yeah, 100% right. I think the makeup of the party should be interesting regardless.
Yeah.
I think the only thing... hopefully this does go out after the poll because I don't want this to influence the poll. I think the only thing that would make the party really, really tricky is if he lands on the Spellweaver. Okay. And that's not because the class is bad, but because the makeup of our class will be very, very much super squishy and lots of damage. And I feel like that just is putting your hands into the RNG gods of like monsters draw well and like or go quickly before everyone else can and people can just lose cards.
Yeah.
So
Which the Spellweaver can get back.
The survival if I can get back. Yes. True. So yeah, look, I think either way it should be fine.
Yeah. If you, and I'm talking to not you, but the actual listener, if you've got a party that consisted of a Tinkerer and a Mind Thief, either in 2 people or 2-player or a 3-player with another one, just let us know how your party going. You having a good time? Did you guys reroll into something good? I'd be curious to see what other people's party compositions are, and if you're having a good time. All right, let's jump into 2.0. I got to stop calling it that. I'll call it 2nd edition.
Yeah, we're gonna call it 2nd edition.
I think so.
I think 2nd edition sounds less like there's going to be a 2.1.
That's fair,
right?
But we would like there to be a 2.1.
Would we?
As in like new content.
Oh, okay. We want patches.
Not from a balance point of view.
Okay,
from here's a new 30 scenarios that drops in 2.1.
Yeah, here's a new hat.
Yeah.
Costume, microtransactions.
Oh, maybe. I did push that I did
Gotcha.
to Isaac, but he blocked me. All right. So expectations. Do you have any expectations going into this?
Yes.
Good. Me too. All right. Moving on. No, really. I know that the events have all been completely redone. So the Satire team have gone in there and gone spring cleaning the majority of the events. I think 2 from the original are still in there.
Wow, is that it?
Yeah.
Because I don't remember them being bad.
I think he kept the 2 berry ones.
Yes, good. They're favorites. I
don't remember them at all.
I don't really remember the scenario, the events, and if I do, when they come up, I'm not going to remember the outcomes. Right? But the events, I think, are such a core piece of the Haven series that it's really cool that they've also got a facelift because again, it would have been a very easy. Just go again. No one really remembers what they are, right? So yeah, I'm looking forward to it because there was some really spicy ones in Frosthaven that really kind of pushed the envelope into interesting places that weren't just you're at a situation, pick an arbitrary left or right, and they did move beyond that, which I think creates a good dynamic.
Yeah.
And one of the things we said that we were going to do in the playthrough is because we have traditionally had a group that you'd be like, okay, this thing has happened. And you have a bunch of people like, I don't care. So
and I'm like, what happened?
Yeah. And you're like, okay, we go left because I always choose left, right? We're actually now going to force everybody to vote.
To actually make a decision.
Yes. So everyone has to contribute in some way.
Yes.
And because we have 3 people, most of them have a 50-50, so that we're going to get a result.
Exactly.
Which is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of I told you so.
Yeah. It's going to be a different dimension to the events. It'll suddenly make them I was about to say better. They're fine. They've always been fine. Just make them more exciting and thrilling, especially because we're going to discuss them beforehand. but you may not like. If you don't care as much or whatever, you're still going to have to make that choice instead of just letting it, be decided by other people. You still have to write an A or a B. And I think that's going to lead to more, especially if it's the wrong outcome. Not that any of them are wrong, but
there are 100% wrong ones. There's ones where, and because we usually don't read the other side of the card, but we might have to work out if we do, because that way the person who voted the other way can be like, yeah, I told you.
Maybe we do it if the other option got a vote.
Okay. Only, okay.
If it was unanimous, then we don't get to read it.
We don't get to read it. Okay,
No.
Interesting. Yep.
Let's see. Downtime phase, right? So one of the biggest things about Frosthaven that everyone absolutely loved was the outpost phase. And I mean, look, we've banged on about this for years, but the outpost phase, I can't remember. Did I like it? I was about to say, I liked it. And then I was like, no, that's not right. I didn't like it. And then I'm like, I don't remember. It was so long ago.
The outpost phase was good.
Yes.
It just dragged at
concept.
points of the game.
I think that's what it is.
And I think sometimes it wasn't as interesting as others,
Yeah.
and you just wanted to get on and move
Correct.
on. So I think it was a really good storytelling a method, and it did push the game further along. But there were some down, like what would you call lowlights or low energy components of it that just felt like, let's just get this done.
Are you happy that it's kind of been scrapped as a whole and it's gone back to basics? Or would you rather have seen them go, okay, cool, we were trying to get all brave with this, this whole city developing part of the game, make it better?
The thing I'm most disappointed isn't carried across, and I don't know this because I haven't read the rule book yet.
Yep.
Is the calendar system, because I thought the calendar system was
I
brilliant,
think that might still be in.
amazing,
Yes.
great.
I think that might
love
still
it.
be in.
Okay, perfect. Then no, it's fine.
Yeah, I think
Everything.
morale might still be in it.
Okay, well,
I'm making that up. I'm not too
okay.
sure.
No, but like I think no, I'm fine with it going back to less a city development. Like Frosthaven, it worked really well because you were actually supposed to be developing the outpost, right?
Yes.
Gloomhaven's a large city that we're really small, minute people in this giant city of a whole bunch of stuff going on. So we shouldn't be. But I think the part that I'm looking forward to is a reputation system, because I don't know a lot about it, but I feel like that's going to add...
Because you haven't read the rulebook.
Correct. And add enough, a little bit of extra things to do or decide, or put more weight. I again, because I don't know how it's going to work, put more weight on decisions on city events or on which quests we do. And that in itself will make the Gloomhaven city kind of esque phase in a way a little bit more interesting, because we might start seeing the benefit from our choices or the consequences.
That's a really interesting point, because I remember reading about, just in the rule book, I haven't finished it yet, so don't spoil it for me, but the whole faction thing that I knew was coming in this, and that when one goes up, you may be lowering the others, and that leads to certain decisions, and I think it affects scenarios to a degree. But if because of our new event voting system that we're going to be implementing, that could be interesting when it comes to, no, go the demon faction. No, I'm all about order. Is there an order font? I don't know.
It's got to be, right?
Yeah.
There's always paladins.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just means that we may, be picking a side.
So what you're saying is that if there's like some green grass tree bugs type faction, then all the other factions are screwed, because that's just going to be 100% my votes all the time.
Yeah, well, if you, me, and Phil all pick a different faction, like a triangle war thing that's going on.
Okay.
Can someone check if that's bad for the game if none of the bars really go anywhere?
So look, I think that'd be really interesting. So I guess to answer your question in short, no, I don't think that I'm disappointed that the whole Frosthaven outpost system, we're not going back to it. I'm liking that it's the Gloomhaven city system with a few more kind of features, because I think that's going to work really well for the flow of the game.
Yeah, okay. What if we moved into the next Haven game and it's not a big city? Would you want a outpost thing to come back?
Yeah, I think I do. I really like the idea of this group effort to contribute towards what's happening, because one of the things that I always found in Gloomhaven that I didn't like, and this is not a flaw of the game at all, it's just is that it's co-op, but it's not really at all, right? Like you're all, have to finish the mission, but that's the scenario, but that's it. Everything else becomes almost like it's all individual. Whereas that I feel like the Outpost phase at least made it feel like when you were coming back together, you were all working towards something. I think it just needed to be tightened up. And I don't want to turn this into the Frosthaven podcast where we go back over again about why the Outpost phase was tedious at points, because I think it was brilliant for 80% of it. It just needed the next iteration. I think very much like what's happened with Gloomhaven from first to second edition is that first edition was amazing. And I think second edition is going to be even more amazing because they've learnt so much. So if they make the next Haven, and I don't think it'll be, it won't be Frosthaven second edition, it'll be Next Haven, right? They will probably take all those learnings and make some kind of other variation of the Frosthaven Outpost system and what they learned from Gloomhaven, like first edition and second edition, and just to make the next thing. It's like that iteration. So yeah, I think that it'll just keep getting better.
Yeah, okay.
And I genuinely think as an overall, I think that's what this will be. I think this will be the next best version of Haven.
Yeah, okay. No, I think it's well said. I think that and I think it's wise to hold off on the Frosthaven Outpost issues and all of that, because that's dead horse, right? Beating a dead horse.
Yeah, that's it. But I'm really excited if the calendar's in it. I'm going to be disappointed now that it's not when I find out and read the rulebook.
Well, I mean, the calendar was your job in the Frosthaven, so it's coming back.
But well, if there's no calendar, I'm just going to make my own calendar. I'm just going to bring in my own printed sheet and mark off, and then I will give updates. I'll be like, well, we're day 10, everybody, and you're like, this doesn't mean anything, Gaz. You can't hurry us along.
No, as long as you mark that box in correctly and don't miss it. The story, right? Gloomhaven apparently had a story. Frosthaven, did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. Is that something you care about? Because this can only get better, right? And I believe that I think it's the same people that did the events. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sure if it's Alexander and the Satire team or whether or not they're just stuck with events and section events. No, they have to be part of the story.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. We're making stuff up.
Yes, I want the story to be good. I don't think that we can expect like a AAA title immersive story, because I just don't think that's the focus of this game. I think one of the things that I found from Frosthaven is, like, when I say yes, I like the story, there were cool bits in that, and there were some really good writing, kind of almost little sections of the storyline that I thought were really well done, and the overall story was good, right? There were also parts that I didn't care about, right? And I think the same thing will happen in second edition. I reckon there's going to be some cool story arcs. There's going to be some interesting characters. Hopefully there's some returning characters that, again, we can have fun with, and, they kind of create this immersive world. But I don't expect it to be from go to woe all the way through, just like edgy seat gripping, like, oh my God, where are we going next? Because at the end of the day, it's a dungeon crawl. There's going to be random. You go to a dungeon and do a dungeon thing, right? Like, it's so hard to make that really critical to the storyline all the time. So as long as those moments, though, are like, you go here and it's a cool setup, and then the scenario mechanics are interesting, I think that's enough for that to be kind of captured within there.
Yeah, okay.
And that's kind of what I'm expecting.
So you're not going to be a skip, because I think with Mark and Phil, they're a bit more on the skip
Space
side
bar,
of things.
yeah,
Space
bar,
bar,
yeah.
skip. I'm in between. I'm more what's happening right now. I'm not too sure because I'm not paying attention.
Yeah.
And you're the one that's filling me in as to what's happening. But there are times where if the writing is good enough and simple enough, I'll be like, whoa, big words. But I kind of get what's happening there. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how much of it sticks. What is good is that something that Dwarf implemented with Frosthaven was the previously on kind of thing. And I think what they've learned from, not necessarily that, because he may not have had an influence on that decision at all, and no one, believes that his, you know where I'm going with that. On the actual scenarios themselves, they actually have a section number or how you got to that scenario. So now you can actually go back and read the section part in the section book that led you to the scenario.
That's cool. Does that mean he's not making his app?
Look, probably not.
Oh man,
probably not. But yeah, I think that they are. It shows that people care about the story and they want to know why they're in a certain place instead of scenario 62, scenario 39, and that's it.
It's an important part of any game that has a campaign, right? Like you want to know the story. Even you were talking about Slay the Spire and say Monster Train 2 that just came out, which is a roguelike deck building video game. Even that has some really loose storyline that it uses to drive you through the unlocks. And it's not super engaging, but it just lets you know why the next thing you unlocked is the next thing, rather than just like, congratulations, you played for X amount of time, have a new mode, and then it not be connected to anything else. And you go, well, why am I going there now? Like, just having something just makes it make more sense. And so I think at the very least, we'll have things that connect you to where you're going and why you're doing it.
It's beautiful, guys.
What?
That's just beautifully said.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're just moving pixels on a screen.
Correct. That's the thing. At the end of the day, like I don't want to be just doing like, okay, so Gloomhaven, we're sitting down to do 100 random scenarios, and then at the end of it, we'll say, high five, cool, we won. You want there to be a lead up, and that makes the bosses more impactful,
Yeah,
right?
it does.
Which, you know, so hopefully, again, I have faith that they've tied it all together and they've done well, and I won't be skipping it.
No, that's good to know.
One question though, who's going to be reading out the scenarios? Is it you or Fortella?
Oh, I don't have Fortella for second edition yet.
Does it exist?
It does, but I read somewhere that they've only done the story. I don't think they've done Road in the City events, or it was section events. Something's missing compared to Frosthaven, and it's in the coming soon bucket. Now, I could be completely wrong on this, but when I was reading about it a while back, I think people who had just been receiving their editions, I think it did go up in the Reddit subreddit, and people were like, what's going on? Why is Fortella not having all of the road events or something? Which is something we did have for every event in Frosthaven. And that was enough to, I don't know, upset people or something.
Well, I mean, like a shout out to the Fortella like team or person, if it's one person, who did that. That did make, so not only was it easier because there was a lot more story in Frosthaven, right? There's a lot more text than potentially there was in Gloomhaven, so that made that easier. But it was also so well voice acted, like
it was.
The voice acting and the sound effects that they have with it,
music,
all that stuff that went along. Like there was the production value for exactly what it was trying to do was just through the roof, which is why I want it.
Yes,
right. So
and in Crimson Skies, we didn't have that. It was me reading.
It was you, and like. I did love the voices. Like, I feel like I would love to go through a roll call of the different. Maybe we'll do that in a separate episode, a piece of content.
Who's the old person that I was trying to remember?
I don't know, but we'll maybe you can record that separately and chuck it in. But either way, let's have a look, and hopefully we have some Fortella, and then as they release more content, we'll be able to kind of keep going with them and support them. Because I think that again. As a product, it was amazing, and I highly recommend that everyone jumps on board and supports them.
Yep. No, well said. Scenarios. Now, Frosthaven really lifted it up from Gloomhaven with all of the convoluted special rules, massive purple boxes, solve a Venn diagram, and then do some Sudoku and all that kind of stuff. It's assumed we're going backwards, but not all the way backwards to Gloomhaven. It'll be interesting to see kind of where the scenarios will fit. And how long until we get to some of those,
14.
No, not like that. But from a, where kill all enemies to here's a little mini puzzle, please be okay with it kind of thing, right? Or endless spawns or something like that. Because, I mean, Frosthaven, that and the Outpost phase are probably one of the biggest critiques from a lot of people. Not from us. We enjoyed them, even some of the more convoluted ones. Yes, they were admin heavy. A lot of the time, tracking certain things, but we were big fans of just keeping the scenario variety really high.
Yeah.
And it feels like that's going to go backwards a little bit.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because without rehashing over Frosthaven, I think that the biggest misses we saw with it was not so much its design or its idea, but it was sometimes just the implementation. So like, love what they did here, got real clunky.
Yes.
Right? And you mentioned admin. A lot of them became down to that where we were spending so long doing admin between there being too many monsters or too many things to work out that
and then when you add there's a spoiler locked content that adds to that. It's a layer on top of another layer. And then the special rules, yes, you're right.
Yeah.
But carry on.
Yeah, no. But so I'm thinking, and then where this is going is I'm thinking that they will have learnt and gotten that feedback and then just adjusted how that works, right? So, keeping that kind of stuff in mind, I want them to have the same level of complexity or close to that they had in Frosthaven, but just be a bit cleaner with it, right? And I think that just comes with more time, more feedback, more iterations of what they're doing as they get better at what they go through. Because if you think at Frosthaven, I reckon like 80% of the scenarios were really good, right? Like everybody remembers the really ones they didn't like, but they are 5%,
It's
right?
true.
At most. And I think that number probably will stay the same for Gloomhaven, but it might be for different reasons. I'm sure you're going to have some ones in there that you don't have a great time with, but I don't think that's going to be always the scenario's fault.
Yeah.
I
don't mind if they're going to go rules heavy. It's literally just the fiddliness of the admin that is going to be the make or break. And I think that's just a general feeling that a lot of people are going to think. I love the idea of having two factions fighting each other, but when there's so many of them and you're dealing with both sides of admin and then your own, that becomes a bit too much. But if you're thinking about that situation and you have one, maybe two on each side, that is much easier to manage. Make them elites, make them hard hitting. If they're swarmy, and I think that's where some of the problem with admin comes from, is when there's a swarmy monster and a special rule or a special affix or a modifier, that's being thrown in there as well. That's when things become, even if it's not difficult to manage, it's just a pain in the ass. And it can suck the energy out of the actual scenario.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. There's so many layers that some of the scenarios in Frosthaven could have where, again, you take your swarmy, so you've got an imp of some type and it does a multi-attack targeting too. Right. But then when you've got special rules from the scenario, you've got special rules from other unlocked things that happen in Frosthaven on top of what they're doing. And that might cause impacts to people and where they go. And if you forget those, then that impacts down the line. Yeah. This suddenly becomes this, it's actually just 2 attacks. That's easy. But when you got to do that 5 times and there's like 3 or 4 different, that's when that becomes too much. And that's not inherently the scenario's fault, because sometimes it's just a bad combination of who's playing, where they're playing, what you chose to go in there with, and what's happened. So it becomes very tricky. I think where I'm thinking that Gloomhaven will land is that they will have been able to get that feedback on board and design with that in mind. Seems like Frosthaven was Gloomhaven was very safe, right? Yes. Like it was new.
Unless Matt Summers designed the scenario.
Yes, which we love, right?
I cannot wait to see the Matt Summers ones. He did the original 1.0 ones, right? He did some of the 1.0 ones.
Oh, okay. So he's definitely
some of the most hated ones, I think.
I bet I love.
Or controversial. Yeah, probably.
I'll have to go through and look.
So they would have been redone.
But yeah, that's the. Okay, yeah. I suppose just come back. Guess. Designer come back to redo. Yeah, so that's it. Like with some of the, Gloomhaven was mostly just safe, and that's because it was new, right? So again, I make this joke all the time. Vanilla ice cream is really good, and everyone loves vanilla for a reason, right? And that's what 1.0 was. It was mostly all vanilla scenarios. So you're like, this is fine, and they would switch it up slightly. Frosthaven was just like scenarios unleashed. They're like, we're going to have no boundaries, and we're going to sit within the rules we've made, but we're just going to try everything. And I feel like 2.0 or second edition is just a refined version of that. It's like, okay, let's have crazy ideas, but let's just make it so that they work and the feedback is that they're more fun to play. And that's what I'm looking for, some really tight design, interesting scenarios where they just kind of go forward and work.
Yeah, maybe a controversial call.
Ooh.
No, well, I don't know like that. It's from a company kind of situation. We just played Crimson Scales. Crimson Scales felt a little bit like that middle ground.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Because we just came out of Frosthaven where the last few scenarios was just like, oh my God, all of this stuff's happening. I mean, that last one, right? And then we went to Crimson Scales, and do you remember when we started that? It was like, oh, everything feels so simple, and just it felt so weird. It still had special rules in there, and we started to see those, and they pushed the envelope in a different area, but it still never felt too taxing compared to some of the Frosthaven ones. And I think Gloomhaven may probably fall into that. Second edition may fall into that area.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so I think I'm expecting more complex scenarios than Gloomhaven, just being tighter designed.
Yep.
So.
2 more things. One of them is, I don't know whether or not it's been revamped, but I know that the original Gloomhaven had, I think, 20 or 24 battle goals. Frosthaven then introduced 60 because it gave you the option of getting 3 and picking 1.
So that means we're going to have 120?
Well, no, unless we combine the Frosthaven ones. I don't know if they've been redone, and if they have, how much, right? I'm hoping that we're getting 60 brand spanking new battle goals. I think that'll be amazing. And I love the idea that if they are brand new and we're doing the playthrough, none of us have a clue what the other people are trying to do, right?
Yeah.
And not until they start cycling.
Yep. I don't know if they're going to be able to come up with 60 new ones because I feel like even in Frosthaven, some of them were like kind of carried over from Gloomhaven,
Maybe.
right? But as long as Bastion's in there.
Yeah, I love Bastion. The other one is the new condition Safeguard. So it's a positive condition. It can be on monsters and it can be on us. Do you remember what it does?
Yeah,
I didn't
doesn't
think
it
so.
just absorb or make you immune to the next negative condition you get?
It does.
You haven't even read the rule book.
What happens if you get hit with two?
Then you ignore the first one and take the second one.
Well, which one's the first one?
You get to choose. Play a choice. Unless you're playing Cthulhu rules, in which case whichever one's worse for you.
No, you are correct. Do you like this as a condition?
Sure.
Like, well, that's okay. I think that's exactly what I'm thinking. It's not like this mind-blowing, massive thing that's going to change the direction of the game, but I like having additional little tiny toys.
It depends on how much it's in it, right? Like I think there's like a shield that you can get in Frosthaven. It's probably in Gloomhaven as well that allows you to ignore a condition, right? I found that on one of my characters really clutch to have there. I know there's like, I think there's the healing potion, or not healing, what is it? The cure potion or whatever. So there are ways of doing that already. I think bringing in a condition that you can get, a positive condition you can get that's going to give you that ability is not bad. It's almost cleaner in a way. But I wouldn't want to see it heaps.
I'm calling it right now. I reckon it's been designed in such a way that the reason you also met about it is because it's not really good on players. It's going to be the thing on monsters. So monsters, priests or whatever that have it, all of a sudden that's really annoying. Because if we're trying to poison, bleed, stun or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And it fixes up the monster ability deck having to call out cleansing things and that be useless, right? So, like, you know, putting a priest to enemy priest to cleanse a negative ability is so niche that you never know whether it's going to work. But putting on Safeguard has a really good chance of like absorbing something.
Yeah, messing up a lot of plans.
So yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. So yeah, look, I hope that it's not in heaps because the problem with something like that I can see is that if it starts making conditions like if players have too good access to it, I mean that conditions they're immune, and that's bad because that's a massive difficulty curve in the game. If heaps of monsters have it, again, I think that's going to be bad because that nerfs the crap out of a whole bunch of cards, and that just makes playing the character less fun. Right? Like, hey, one of my things is I get to poison stuff. Oh, now you don't get to do that anymore. I was like, oh, good. So I just run around just doing nothing, right? So I feel like an overuse of that will be bad, but I'm fine to see it in dribs and drabs.
Yeah, okay.
Much like Impair. We shat on Impair, right?
We did.
We so much. This is, why would we ever care about this? This is so niche in that it's useless. And then it would occasionally pop up on a couple of enemies and we get it and we go to do something like heal or use our boots or do anything and be like, oh, I can't because I've got Impair. This sucks. So I feel like that's the kind of, but that was so infrequent that when it happened, it was super oppressive, but it didn't make me go, I hate this game.
No.
It was like how do I get around this? Like it seemed like a challenge, and it meant that monsters like the scouts that could do Impair, you were like, I don't want to be anywhere near that guy.
No.
And so I feel like this is that thing. If as long as it's used very infrequently, it has an impact, but you don't see this as just like a go-to or the monsters have it as a go-to. I feel like that's where that'll become, oh shit, they've got that. We've got to be really careful.
Yeah, I do think that it's going to be in the way that you're hoping. Not used too much, but enough to make it interesting.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'll just put a flat immunity on them, immune to poison, right?
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
All right. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about from a second edition point of view? Anything you're excited for?
Oh, anything I'm excited for?
We got new. I think Chaos Demons are in.
Hey,
did that get spoiled for
our
us?
favorite. Is that a spoiler?
No, did it get spoiled for us?
I think
We didn't
that
know.
got spoiled.
Yeah.
But
This is what I mean. This is the spoiler thing. It's like we know absolutely nothing,
No.
and then it's not a. People will be like, "That's not a big spoiler."
Yeah.
But the first time we see them, or we know, I mean, I would have seen it when I punched them. So there's that. I don't know if I would have tweaked though.
No,
as
you
I
would
was
have been in
punching.
mindless punching mode
Yeah,
at
okay.
3 a.m. So, what am I looking? Oh, look, I don't think there's anything specifically that I'm looking forward to. Like anything that I'm like, I can't wait.
PQs. I hope the PQs are more interesting.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We already know they're going to unlock the characters and what characters they are, etc. It's just hopefully that they're not to kill Inox, right? Kill 15 Inox or something like that. They've had 2 games now, maybe 3 if you count Jaws, to nail the PQs and make them not a pain in the ass to do. Let the Frosthaven Herb one.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the PQs in Gloomhaven were a lot were better, but I don't know. I'm interested to see too. I feel like the inherent problem with the PQ system is that it's random, and because it's random, if you get one that is weird on a character, then it can just suck. Like,
Then you choose the other one.
yeah, but that's what I mean. If you got like one that's like, don't do X, right? Don't burn cards or burn cards, and you're playing a character that really doesn't want to burn cards, and the other ones kill a bunch of Inox, you're like, okay, I choose the annoying one that might not pop up because we don't go to those scenarios, or I pick the one that's anti my character.
Yeah, okay.
And that's when I can get into a bit of a
So
weird.
do you think that then they will have balanced them for everyone?
I don't think you can.
Well,
It's
you
just-
can if it's like,
All on the
exhaust X amount of times, right? Because everyone can do that.
But that's one of the bad ones.
I think this is where Frosthaven was. Oh, actually, no. Gloomhaven did it too with the regional ones. Make sure you clear a scenario in all these locations from memory.
Yep.
And Frosthaven had one similar because you had to build the boat and you had to go off to Lurker Town and the robot place.
Yeah. In Unfettered?
Yeah, that.
Yeah,
Yeah. You had to use those item or collective group gear, climbing gear, and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So there are some that I think that are a bit more from a time-gated exploration one without feeling too bogged down. Like the Crimson Scales Inox one was just, I was about to use a naughty word, but it was just not good.
Yeah, but I think that's a harsh judgment on that was specific to Crimson Scales. I don't remember that ever
Yeah.
being a bigger issue in Gloomhaven.
No. No, that's completely fair.
And yeah, so, and also because Gloomhaven doesn't have that time aspect to it like Frosthaven. So if we need to go repeat a scenario to go kill forest imps for some reason, all right, then that becomes way more doable. Probably not as exciting because we'll have done it before, but like, and if we're recording content, but there is an element where we bump it up. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, yeah. So I don't know. I'm quietly confident that the PQs will be fine.
Yeah, okay. No, the PQs that we don't even reveal them to each other and drop hints or anything, unless Phil likes to do that. I am doing this for some reason.
Yeah.
But no, Gaz and I played the guessing game with our PQs, and it'll be fun. As a viewer and listener, you can join in on the fun and have a discussion about it and see if you can guess what our things are. And I'm sure Gaz will organize a prize for you out of his own pocket.
What is in my pocket? So yeah, look, I'm just looking forward to the experience as a whole. I think it's updated. I really enjoy Gloomhaven. I think it's, again, second edition Gloomhaven. I've seen some small amount of the changes that they've done, just through bits and pieces that have been posted around that I managed to glimpse, and it just feels like they've just leveled it up, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm. No, big fan of what's to come.
You
Hopefully.
sound like it.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely. All right. You got nothing else on this?
No, I think that's probably it. We've probably gone for about 2 hours now, haven't we?
No, an hour and 20.
Wait,
So
that's good fast.
We've been out of this for so long, like it feels like forever, but it's only been an hour and 20.
Cool. Well, hopefully those people that are new are like, oh my God, they're still talking. Don't worry, we can talk for longer.
100%.
And everyone else that is like, oh, it's coming to an end. Don't worry. I'm sure the next time, once we finish our first scenario and have all these thoughts, because we've lost 4 times and we've had to bump it down to -1 difficulty. Don't worry, we'll have 2 hours of bitching and complaining about banded archers or something.
Can't wait.
Right.
Getting booked by archers. Amazing. First 2 turns.
Let's do that.
So I'm going to do something I haven't done before, and I want to talk about a game that you and I have been playing recently. Now, this sounds like an ad, and it's definitely not.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored, not an ad. This is genuine from the heart, right? Gaz and I have been playing a game called Chaos Zero Nightmare on PCs and also mobile, and it only just came out. And it is, if you took Slay the Spire, right, deck building Slay the Spire, and you mixed it with Darkest Dungeon, which is that real stress mechanic, grim, dark kind of thing, you get this amazing game called Chaos Zero Nightmare. And we've been playing the absolute hell out of it. That's it. This is not a plug for, you need to get this and use our code or anything like that. We get nothing from it. We've not, it's just genuinely, this is a good game and I want more people to know about it. Whether or not you play it or not, it's completely up to you. It's free. There's really no pay to win in there. Like I get what I'm saying right now. Obviously, if you put money in, you'll be better at it, but there's not a competitive game. The challenge in there is amazing.
Yeah.
The deck building, the options, the characters. We have been playing this nonstop. We've just been comparing the decks that we've been building. It's a roguelike game that you just keep playing over and over again.
Yeah.
And I just want more people to play it.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's share the love, share the information, right? The more people that can enjoy it, the better. And yeah, give it a go. And if it's if it's not for you, it's free, which
totally.
is crazy. The type of games that come out now like this that have such good systems and just work and are fun and cost $0 compared to $90 to $100 AAA titles that come out and don't work.
Broken.
Right. So yeah, 100%. Give it a crack if you like those type of games, and it'll be your jam, or it won't, and at least you'll know. And hit us up if you do.
Yeah, if you're playing it, let us know, because Gaz and I are showing our decks to each other all the time. Every night. We're streaming it to each other. You can see, if you're in their Discord, you can see it. We're in there and we're live streaming at the decks that we're building.
I tried to get through an episode. We've been going for so long, and you had to just drop us down, didn't you? Anyway, come if you do, hit us up. We've got a Dirty Gatches channel in there that we can talk about other non games, and we can talk about that. So
100%. Well, that is all we have time for. So this is not to you, because I know the second I ask, you'll be like, yeah, are you excited for Gloomhaven 2nd edition?
yeah.
Let us know in the comments. We will see you all next week when our amDirt Gloomhaven campaign kicks off. Fantastic to see you all again. Thank you for joining us. I've been your host, Teddy, and I've been joined again by Gaz.
And remember, when it comes to rolling terribly, it's all in the wrist. I got it. I got it first time.